Hello everyone, my name is Carlos Garcia. Today I'm going to talk about plagiarism. In this topic, I'm going to explain what is it, what is the importance of this topic, the types of plagiarism with its respective characteristics. Also, I'm going to talk about the effects and how to avoid it. Well, let's start with what is it. Plagiarism are invalid practices in academic development because this is unethical in the students who do it. Plagiarism is copying and pasting information from another author without being mentioned in the assignment. This implies a lack of respect towards the teachers and the creators of information. Let's talk about the types of plagiarism. Here we have to take into account all of these types because we as students search in the sources and we can determine that we are in what case we are wrong. So here you can see these types of plagiarism. As you can see, there are copy paste information without acknowledgement, self or auto plagiarism, collusion, cloning, mosaic, remix, find and replace, and verbatim. Let's start talking about copy and paste information without acknowledgement. This type of plagiarism is one of the simplest because it only involves copying and pasting the requested information. The respect label is not given to the creator of the information or to the page where the query was made. On the other hand, plagiarism or copying is not only done through the internet. This is done between classmates in the tasks that the teacher requests. Here we have an example about this type. The teacher asked us to make a summary of global warming. A classmate is guided by some sources on the internet and also uses his reasoning. The activity is cited correctly. Then I ask my partner to lend me the work and I simply copy some parts so that the teacher does not identify that the tasks are the same. The mistake is that I didn't quote or I didn't cite information and I didn't paraphrase. The next type is self or auto-plagiarism. Self-plagiarism is considered one of the strategies that the students have to deceive teachers. But the reality is different. The reader or teacher identifies the tasks as very redundant and duplicative. The student uses information made previously and is presented by himself as updated work. Here, to be clear about this type, I have created an example. A teacher sends a job to his students to make an essay about how to avoid bullying in educational institutions. In this case, a student remembers that another teacher previously sent him an assignment related to the topic and tries to overwrite that information. However, the student did not cite himself, which is considered self-plagiarism. We have to take into account this one to don't commit the same mistakes when we are working, when we are doing the tasks. Collusion. Collusion is the exact copy of the tasks. Topics and writing should be different. This is as a recommendation of the topic because this does not have to be in the same thing when we're copying information from another sources. Here there is an example. The teacher sends from work to make a consultation or investigation about the importance of the sport that the students like most. However, When the teacher goes to grade the essays, he realizes that more than 3 students have chosen the same sport and some sentence of the information it contains are repeated in the tasks. Similarly, among those tasks, some have different words, but they are very related. The next type is cloning. It is practically the verbatim copy of college's work or a classmate's work. The plagiarism person does is change the name of the author. Example that have created is the following. The teacher make us develop a paragraph corresponding to the Galapagos Islands. Within this work, a couple of students have the same information consulted. The only thing that changes is the name of the author in the citations. What does it mean? That the student is gonna have a bad score or is wrong because he's copying just the same of the classmate and just changes the author. It doesn't mean anything of investigation, of research. Let's talk about mosaic. The mosaic represents the copying and pasting of small paraphrases, sentences, or words that try to fit precisely with the rest of the information. The author of the information sought uses transitions that allow the person to easily connect ideas. The reason is that the student has no merit since he or she does not use his or her reasoning to do the work. For example, I am doing a research activity related to the technology. I look for information from different sources, and what I do is copy a paragraph from each source. Here we have remix. It seems that this type is not plagiarism, but really it is. This is about copying most of the information, but to confuse the teacher, the only thing that is done is to paraphrase some words and others to add them in a personal way or contribution. Another problem is that the student does not make references. This is a big problem in students that just cite, but there is not a reference to see where I found this information. For example, the students have to make a summary of their reading of a basic textbook, but the objective is that to use some words different from those that the text contains. In this activity, some students only paraphrased some words and changed the order of some sentences so that the teacher does not identify that there is a similarity. Here we have find and replace. In this type of plagiarism, words are replaced with synonyms, gerunds, and other types of words that are related to the text. The problem is that the rest of the text is copied and pasted. As an example, we have, I am making a paragraph, and what I'm doing is copying information from web pages. Then, at first, I change the words a bit using synonyms, and the rest I leave the same. It means that I'm wrong because I'm just changing a little part of this. And now it has to change all the information. Well, using paraphrases, of course, but not just a minimum part. And as a last type, we have verbatim. Transcriptions are used, for example, the words of other people in songs, movies, television, comments, interviews, among others. Here we have an example. I have to make a story. I have no ideas, and what I do is copy some phrases, taking them from some movies and songs. It means that I don't think to create this story. Just I am copying information from other people and I just put here. It means that I am doing plagiarism. Well, here I have researched about effects that I can see, I can say are reputation problems. Our reputation is going to be affected for us because we are lying. We are not doing specific information about us. We are not thinking. We just look for another source. We just see the information from another people, and that we just do is copy and paste. It doesn't mean that we didn't have created our thinking to do this task. Also, it can cause lawful effects. We can be affected for the law, so we have to take into account this to don't have these type of problems. And something that I could qualify disappointed is have a low grades for this. We're gonna we're gonna get low grades if we just copy. So we have to work hard to research and create our thinking mind. And of course, we're gonna be affected in the exams. There's gonna be a failed exams because we are not studying, we are not reading, just we see in a easy way, in a fast way, in the information that the teacher requests to us. And so we are not studying anything because just we copy. And as a last thing, effect, I have choose personal fraud. Personal fraud can be the hardest things in our academic development because we want to continue, but if we copy, we're not gonna be continuing. And how to avoid plagiarism. Here I have created a paragraph in which I can say that I believe that to avoid plagiarism, all we must do is cite and use the apparels correctly. In the same way, I think that we as pre-professional students, we must use logical reasoning to define any concept. This will help us in our professional development. Information from other authors should serve as support to be able to express our ideas. In case the information of the author that we want to use in our task is relevant, we must cite correctly according to the type of text that we are doing. In all the works that we present, we must be ethical and show that we are disciplined and we are not lying to anyone. Thank you to everybody. It has been everything. I hope that you could be understood this topic. Thank you very much.